What if the greatest love story of all time was never meant to last forever? What if the passion that survived centuries, wars, and fate itself was destined to break in the end? This is the story of Jamie and Claire Fraser, a story that began with fire and devotion, but now faces its most heartbreaking chapter. The world of Outlander has always been more than just a tale of time travel. At its heart, it is the story of two people, Jamie and Claire, whose love burned brighter than any obstacle thrown their way. From the very first moment Claire touched the stones at Craig na Dun and found herself pulled back into the 18th century, her life changed forever. But more than her life, her heart found a place it could never leave. That place was with Jamie Fraser. Together they built a love that defied all rules of time. A love that withstood battles, betrayals, and even centuries of separation. They have crossed oceans, endured prison walls, faced exile, and stood against the kind of loss that would have broken most people. Yet, through every storm, Jamie and Claire found their way back to one another. For viewers, they became more than characters on a screen. They became the embodiment of devotion. But every great love story carries with it a shadow. And as Outlander steps into Season 8, the story begins not with promise, but with a heavy sense of destiny pressing down on both of them. Jamie and Claire are no longer the young lovers who could outrun time. They are older, wiser, but also burdened. Each scar on Jamie's body tells a story of battles fought. Each line on Claire's face whispers of sleepless nights and sacrifices made. And while their love still burns, there is something new in the air, something fragile. This opening episode paints their bond with both light and sorrow. The tenderness remains, Jamie's steady voice calling, Claire, Sassenach, and her hand lingering on his as though afraid to let go. But the silences between them are heavier now. The pauses linger too long. The laughter doesn't come as easily. It is as though both of them know that time, whether measured in years or centuries, is beginning to run out. The heartbreaking truth lies not in sudden betrayal or dramatic loss, but in the slow realization that even love as powerful as theirs cannot stop destiny. The episode leans into this unspoken truth, surrounding their moments together with a quiet, haunting atmosphere. A candle burning lower than before. A storm cloud resting in the distance. A glance held just a little longer, as if they're both trying to capture it before it fades. This is not just the continuation of a story. This is the beginning of its end. Season 8 opens like the final chapter of a book you don't want to finish. You can feel it in the way Jamie looks at Claire, not with the wild fire of youth, but with the aching tenderness of a man who knows that every moment could be their last. You can feel it in the way Claire reaches for him, her touch filled not with curiosity or playfulness, but with the desperate need to hold on to what time will inevitably take away. And yet, in that heartbreak, there is beauty. Because only love as extraordinary as theirs could make this ending so painful, so unforgettable. This first section sets the tone for what is to come. It doesn't give us a sudden tragedy, it gives us something more devastating. It shows us two people we have loved for years, facing a truth that none of us can escape, even the strongest hearts can break, and even the greatest love can face an ending. Every story has a beginning. But with Jamie and Claire, their story never seemed to have an ending. From the moment they were bound together through fire, blood, and destiny, their love felt like something eternal. And yet, Season 8 reminds us that even eternal love must face the tests of time. To understand the weight of this new chapter, we must look back at the long road they've traveled, the trials that shaped them, and the sacrifices that carved scars into their souls. Claire's journey began as an accident of fate. A nurse from the 1940s, she had already survived the horrors of war. But nothing could prepare her for being thrust into a world 200 years in the past, a world where women's voices were silenced and danger waited in every shadow. And in that hostile land she met Jamie, a man of honor, a warrior with fire in his heart, and a soul that seemed bound to hers long before they ever touched hands. That was the beginning of a love story written not by chance but by destiny. Together, they endured countless storms. Jamie, who survived whippings, prisons, exile, and betrayal. Claire, who face suspicion, violence, and the constant pull of two different centuries. They built their love not in peace, but in fire. And that fire kept them alive. Even when separated by time itself, Claire forced to return to her own century while Jamie faced certain death, they never let go. They carried each other inside their hearts across decades, across lifetimes. And when fate allowed them to reunite, their love had not faded. It had grown stronger, but as season 8 begins, there is a change in the air. The world around them is shifting once again. Political unrest brews like a storm on the horizon. Old enemies whisper in the shadows. And both Jamie and Claire are older now, not just in body but in spirit. The years of struggle weigh heavily, not only on their shoulders but on their bond. They no longer run into danger with youthful fire. They move carefully, deliberately, aware that every risk could carry a cost they may not be able to pay. Claire, once fearless in her defiance, now questions what her choices have done to the man she loves. She sees the scars Jamie carries, scars that are not only etched on his body but hidden deep in his heart. And Jamie, once uncheckable, now fears something more than war, more than death. He fears losing her. His courage has not faded, but it has transformed. It is no longer the courage of a young man charging into battle. It is the courage of a husband holding his wife's hand, knowing every heartbeat might be a gift borrowed from time. Season 8 paints this backdrop with haunting beauty. Their home, which once rang with laughter and the warmth of family, feels quieter now. Every glance they share carries layers of unspoken words: gratitude, sorrow, fear, and above all, love. And yet, as fragile as they seem, there is a strength between them. Because even in silence, even in fear, Jamie and Claire remain unbreakable. Their devotion is the thread that has held their lives together. But now, that thread is tested like never before. The build-up of this episode is not filled with action and battles alone. It is filled with quiet, heartbreaking moments. A touch that lingers too long. A look that feels like a farewell. A silence that says more than words ever could. The story sets the stage for something devastating, not by tearing them apart suddenly, but by showing us how much they have to lose. As the tension rises, viewers are reminded of one truth: Jamie and Claire's love has never been ordinary. It has always been greater than time, greater than war, greater than death itself. And yet, as the episode unfolds, we begin to see the cracks. We begin to sense that destiny has written an ending, and for the first time, they may not have the strength to rewrite it. The build-up is a slow burn, a haunting melody that warns us of heartbreak to come. And while the world around them may rage with conflict, the real storm lies in the quiet moments between. Jamie and Claire, the knowledge that their greatest enemy is not war or betrayal, but time itself. Every love story has a moment where everything changes. For Jamie and Claire, that moment arrives in Season 8, Episode 1, not with a roar of violence, but with the quiet, devastating weight of fate pressing down on them. It is not a sword that wounds them, nor a betrayal that tears them apart. It is something far more tragic: the realization that love, no matter how powerful, cannot hold back the tide of destiny. The episode builds to this breaking point like the slow tightening of a noose. You feel it in the way Jamie pauses before speaking, as if he is searching for words he knows will break Claire's heart. You see it in the way Claire looks at him, her eyes filled with questions she doesn't dare ask. Their bond has always been their shield, their weapon, their reason to survive. But in this moment, it becomes fragile like glass, beautiful but breakable. The turning point begins with something small, a confession whispered in the dark. Jamie admits to Claire that he fears he cannot protect her any longer. For a man like Jamie Fraser, who has stood against armies, who has bled and broken and risen again for the sake of his wife, these words are not weakness. They are devastation. He is not afraid for himself, he is afraid for her. And Claire, strong as ever, tries to reassure him. But deep down, she feels it too. Time is slipping away from them. The scene does not rely on shouting or dramatics. Instead, it draws its strength from silence. A candle flickers between them, casting long shadows on the walls. Jamie reaches for Claire's hand, and for the first time in their long journey, his grip trembles. Claire, who has always been the healer, cannot heal this. She cannot stop the march of fate. She cannot promise him forever, because even she no longer believes it is within their reach. Then comes the moment that shatters the illusion. A sudden event, perhaps a letter, a vision, or a confrontation that makes it clear their time together is running short. It doesn't matter whether it is prophecy, politics, or mortality itself. What matters is the look in their eyes when they realize the truth. Jamie, the warrior, bows his head not in defeat but in sorrow. Claire, the time traveler who once believed she could defy history, feels history closing in around her. The heartbreak is not just for them, it is for us, the audience. We have followed them across centuries, across lifetimes, across every trial imaginable. We have seen them torn apart by war, reunited by fate, and tested by the impossible. But this moment is different. It is not a separation we know will end in reunion. It is not a battle we know they can win. It is the quiet acknowledgement that the love they fought so hard to preserve may not survive the weight of destiny yet. Even in this devastation, the beauty of their bond shines through. Jamie does not rage. Claire does not collapse. Instead, they hold each other with a tenderness so deep it hurts to watch. Their strength has always been in their ability to face the impossible together. And in this moment, they do the same. They do not turn away. They do not hide their fear. They simply share it. As they have shared everything else, this turning point is not meant to destroy their story, it is meant to honor it. It reminds us that their love is not defined by victory or defeat, but by the way they cling to each other in the face of both. It is a love so powerful that even as it begins to break, it leaves behind something eternal. A memory, a legacy, a promise that even if Jamie and Claire cannot conquer destiny, their love will live on in every heart that has witnessed it. The heartbreak of this moment lies not only in what is lost, but in what is revealed, that Jamie and Claire's greatest strength was never their ability to defy time. It was their ability to love without condition, without end, even as the world around them crumbled. And in that love, even heartbreak becomes unforgettable. The story of Jamie and Claire Fraser has never been a simple tale of romance. It has been a saga of survival, sacrifice, and devotion that stretched across centuries. And now, as we reach the final chapter, the heartbreak is not just theirs, it belongs to us as well. For 8 seasons, we have lived through their triumphs and tragedies. We have watched them build a love that seemed too strong to ever break. But even the greatest love must face the one enemy no one can defeat: time. This final act is not only about Jamie and Claire's end, it is about what their story means. Their love reminds us that even when the world is cruel, even when fate is unkind, 2 souls can find one another and build something eternal. Their journey has shown us that love is not perfect. It is messy. It is painful. It demands sacrifice. But it is also the most powerful force we can ever know. And in the end, it is the love between Jamie and Claire that transforms heartbreak into something unforgettable. The closing moments of episode 1 linger not on battlefields or grand speeches, but on quiet reflections. A fire burning low in the hearth. Claire holding on to Jamie's hand as if letting go would break her completely. Jamie whispering words that are less about goodbye and more about gratitude for every moment they shared, every life they saved together, every kiss stolen in the shadow of war. These are not scenes of defeat. They are scenes of legacy. They remind us that even when the story ends, the love remains, and that is where the true power of Outlander lies. Not in the time travel, not in the wars or the politics, but in the enduring love between 2 people who never stopped choosing one another, no matter how impossible the odds. That choice, the daily act of devotion, is what makes their story timeless. Even when time itself runs out, as the episode fades, the audience is left with more than sorrow. We are left with a question, one that echoes long after the screen goes dark. Can love truly survive destiny? Perhaps it can. Perhaps in some way, Jamie and Claire have proven that it already has. Because though we may watch their final days unfold, we carry their story with us. Every look, every touch, Every whispered word lives on in the hearts of those who believed in them. And so, the heartbreak becomes something more. It becomes a reminder that love, at its deepest, is not about forever. It is about the moments we are given and the courage to live them fully. Jamie and Claire's ending may be written, but their love will never end. It will echo through every fan who watched them fight, fall, rise, and love again. It will inspire every believer in a love that can defy the darkest night. To you, the audience, the story now turns. What do you believe their legacy truly is? Is it the heartbreak of their parting? Or the beauty of everything they shared before it? Share your thoughts. Share your hopes. Because in speaking of them, in remembering them, we keep them alive. This is not just the end of Jamie and Claire. It is the moment when their love story passes from screen to soul. It becomes ours to carry forward. And though we know the journey is closing, we can still say with certainty, theirs was a love worth remembering, a love worth mourning, a love worth telling again and again. And as the final candle burns low, as their silhouettes fade into memory, one truth remains. Jamie and Claire Fraser have shown us that love is not bound by time. It is not broken by destiny. It is eternal.